Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm Ashley and this is Martin Midlife Misadventures, and today we're going to flour it up and we're making a challah, all right? We're making a challah for our Shabbat. It is a beautiful braided, eggy, delicious, it's a very showy bread, okay? So if you were to make this and show up to one of your family feasts with it, oh my goodness, I think the family would be more than impressed, and the taste of it is just as good as the way it looks. Are you ready? Let's get started. All right, friends, for our challah, what we're going to need is this: 3½ cups of all-purpose flour, a ½ cup of vegetable oil or melted butter. I have some poppy seeds here. This is totally optional, and you could use sesame seeds as well. I have 3 eggs. 2 are for the bread making, and 1 is for the egg wash on top, okay? We're going to need 1½ tablespoons of instant yeast, or you could just use 1 packet. We said about the flour, we're going to need 4 tablespoons plus 1, so 5 total tablespoons of sugar. And just so you know, 4 tablespoons of sugar is a 1/4 cup, okay? So we will need a 1/4 cup of sugar plus 1 tablespoon to add to our water, which I already have done. And this is 3/4 of cup of warm water. And we are going to add our 1½ tablespoons in here, and I'm going to get the dry ingredients in a bowl. All right, friends, in our bowl here, I've added 3 cups of flour. My 4 tablespoons of sugar, a 1/4 cup of sugar, are in here. I'm just going to give it a little mix around. I've got my yeast over to the side that I added to my 3/4 of a cup of warm water and sugar. We're going to go ahead and dump that right in the center. I've got my 2 large eggs in here, and I'm just going to beat them up. Dump that in. And go ahead in this same cup and measure out your 1/4 cup of oil. All right, I put a 1/4 cup of oil in here, but we're going to set it to the side. Remember I said 3½ cups of flour? I have my ½ cup of flour right here, okay? That we're going to add slowly. But let's get the egg mixture and the yeast mixture all mixed into what we have right now. Do this with just a rubber spatula. Works the best is what I found. Now, this is one of those breads that it takes some kneading, okay? It is a bread we have to knead. Look at that so far. Looks good, nice and shaggy, and now we're going to add our oil. It's very moist here today. We're at like 90-something% humidity, and it's very cold. In with the oil. Just dump it all over. Now we're going to get in there with our hands and we're going to start kneading. If we feel like we need more flour, which we might not, we have a whole ½ cup of flour here we can work with. So let's get our hands in there and start folding it on itself, okay? Get in there. Don't be afraid of it. We are going to knead some dough. Whenever you're kneading dough and it has eggs in it, it's kind of a little bit of a different texture. Let me get my sleeve here. All right. Coming together beautifully. It's just getting a little stickiness now, okay? Now, I am going to add flour one more time. And you're probably thinking, I thought you said knead and don't add flour. This is different. We're adding flour into it. It's actually part of the recipe. And we just want to slowly get it worked into this dough. And believe me, when you see the end result of this bread, it is worth all the time and effort that it takes. Okay, let's look at this dough. Look at this dough. It's done. It's not sticking anymore. It's just absolutely perfect. And it's heavy. This is 3.5 cups, not quite. Probably used about 3 1/4. But I've done this before, so I know how it's supposed to feel. So just keep in mind, if this is your first time, as you're slowly adding this flour in, because it's a process, it just makes the dough come out in these layers, and it's delicious. So anyway, just keep in mind, when you finally get it to a point where you don't see any flour on it, and you can handle it like that, and nothing sticks to your hands, your dough is ready for proofing, okay? You definitely want to stop adding flour at that point. Let's put a little bitty drop of oil in the bottom of the pan, and a tiny little drop on top. We're going to put a lid on this, and we are going to set it in a warm spot until it doubles in size, and that should take about an hour. Let's open it up and see what, oh, we are doubled. Would you look at that? Looks fantastic. So, let's pull it out, and trust me when I say you will not need 1 bit of flour on your board. Okay. Get it and gather it up into a little ball. Don't mess with it too much, okay? I'm going to put it down, and we're going to cut this into 4 as equal pieces as we can get. I'm going to do a 4-strand braid. You can certainly just do 3 if you don't want to try this. I should actually get Amy in here because she braids much better than I do. So you have your little triangles here. Each little triangle, get them into a little ball so we can set them aside. Okay, now we're going to start by taking it, because we need to make these in long strips, right? So what I found is if you roll from the middle out, okay? From the middle and then out. Do it for a couple strokes on the inside and then the middle out. They'll slowly start to form into these longer pieces, but we need them even longer than this. And that's it. That's what we're going to do to all 3 of the rest of them. All right, we've got all 4 of them. I've lined my cookie sheet with some parchment paper. I'm limited on how big I can make this because of the oven I cook it in, okay? But we are going to braid this thing, and I have to do mine on an angle on this cookie sheet in order to fit in my oven, as to where you could probably use a large cookie sheet. I'm just stretching these all out to about the same size. See that? Now, the important part of this is this. You've got to get these things sealed together, okay? So let's just kind of stack one on top of the other. See how they're kind of twisted together right here? And I'm going to give them another twist, and then I'm going to tuck them under, okay? For now, we're going to do another little check on this before we let this rise. So, all right, let's braid it. We're going to start by bringing the outside in, okay? So we're going to take this one, and let me tell you, you want to get these tight, okay? When you're braiding these, you want to get them tight because they will separate. So bring the outside in. Bring the outside in. And when you bring them in, cross these inside here, like that. See? We want this tight. You want a tight braid, as tight as you can get it. Now we're going to bring the outside in, the outside in, and cross these two, okay? I'm trying to do this slowly, and you want these tight, okay? You want this braid tight. Here we go again. Outside in, outside in. Now cross the two in the center Do you see how we're doing this? It's very simple. Outside in, outside in, and we're going to cross these two. And we want to pull them and make them kind of tight, okay? All right, outside in, cross them. Cross them. We're crossing them. Now, here we're at the end of this braid. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck them under. And I want to get them tight in there, okay? Just take one at a time, and I'm going to get it really tight under there. Look at your whole piece of bread here. Do you see? Isn't that pretty? We are going to cover this with a tea towel, and we are going to let it rise until it doubles. It could take 20 minutes. It could take 30. When you think you're about 10 minutes away, preheat that oven to 350. All right, let's check her out. Look at that beauty. Would you look at that? I think our ends are tucked good. I sure hope they are. But it'll still taste the same no matter what. I've got 1 egg here, and I added about a teaspoon of water to it. And I have whip. I mean, you really want to whip this up, okay? And now you are going to very liberally coat this with this egg. I mean, coat it. Get down in the little nooks and crannies down in here. Get your egg everywhere in there. Because this is what makes it just beautiful. Now, this is when you add your seeds. I'm using poppy seeds today, and we're just going to sprinkle some seeds on top of it for that aesthetic, because we sure know it doesn't really add any flavor, but it sure makes it look pretty. All right, let's get it in the oven. I am wiping up a little of the extra egg because I don't want scrambled eggs on my pan, but let's put it in. This is going to take anywhere between 25 and 35 minutes, and I will let you know exactly how long ours cooks. Whew. Would you look at this bread? It is done. We are just a few minutes shy of 30 minutes that it took to cook it. Oh my goodness. Would you look at that? Okay, see how I said you got to get your braid tight? My braid. But that's okay. It is still absolutely beautiful, and it is going to taste delicious. Now, it's still very hot, but I want you to see how beautiful it is. I think we should cut a little piece. Let's see. I'm going to cut it like right here. Do you hear the crisp? I'm barely pressing. I'm doing this one-handed. One-handed, guys. Now look. Look at this. It's steamy. You see how fluffy? Oh my goodness, it's just beautiful. I'm going to cut a little piece and butter it and let Amy try it. Ryan smells the bread. Okay, got our bread. Oh, guess what I have in my hand for you? You! Come see, come see. Do you see that? With all that butter. Oh, it's just so, so good. Hey, this is like Wilson. I can hand it to you over the fence.
Oh, look at how beautiful. This is my favorite bread.
It is, huh?
This is my favorite bread.
It's so good. All right, you enjoy.
That's so good.
All right, everybody, what do you think about that bread? Isn't it amazing? And it's universal. I'm talking French toast, sandwiches. You could make stuffing from it. Just name it. This is the bread. And the dough itself, oh, it makes great danishes as well. So if you master this dough, you can make quite a few different things with it, okay? I know it's a little harder of a recipe, but that's okay. You can do it. We are controlling what we're putting in our bodies. We are saving a ton of money too by baking for ourselves. And I know that this is a little bit more costly with the 3 eggs, okay? But sometimes you gotta have a special bread. And this one steals the show. Make this one and bring it to your feast. Oh my goodness, your family is just gonna be so impressed. It's so delicious, and I really hope you'll give it a try. All right, everybody, keep flouring it up and do not stop. Keep telling us all about it. We love you so much. God bless you.